Hey guys, I'm Viper, and welcome to my 2020 review. Now this was shot on the 23rd of December. I did a stream for about 2 hours or so. This is literally just covering what we've done this year and some of the games and speedruns and stuff like that. So there's going to be two parts, but they're going to be fused into one. And there'll be a quick intermission between both, and then obviously when the video is done, I'll be back at the end and leave a few final thoughts. So hope you guys are having a great Christmas, and yeah, here's to 2021. So without further ado, here's my 2020 review. Enjoy. Right, so there's quite a bit to run through. So this is basically going to be a few things. First of all, we're going to sum up this year, how it's gone, and obviously I'll be giving my final thoughts over the year and everything when we get to the end. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? So coming into the new year, we'd already started on a high note. I've actually made a list, so I've created like a notepad with a load of games and speedruns and stuff like that over the full year. Not everything, because there's a lot to talk about between each month, so I'll go through each month at a time and mention the games and certain variables and things like that. So yeah, it's not the speedrun goals you're thinking of, Riv, but it's different. It's basically loads of stuff that I've done a run of this year. Now there's quite a bit to remember, so we'll start off with January. So first things first, that we'd hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now this happened actually on Christmas Day last year, but I didn't get around to celebrating it till around January or February time. But in terms of how it kind of started out, so 1,000 subscribers, we reached that on YouTube, which was quite nice. The next thing is to mention, well, we'll start with the game, shall we? So we've got Stuntman for the Game Boy Advance. I did an 80% run. Fun fact about that run was that it's the only run I've ever done at the 80%. But that run was actually done going from New Year's Eve into New Year. So basically that was an overnight transition run. I don't really know if you can call it that, but that's how I'd put it. 2019 into 2020 run. Also, I'm going to leave the music run in the background, by the way, just so everyone's aware. So yeah, it was kind of like a transition run where it started in 2019 and finished in 2020, which was quite cool. And obviously it got uploaded and it went there on 2020. I didn't stream it, no. So a few of the runs that I've done this year I have recorded offline and uploaded to YouTube and streamed only on Twitch. So some of the highlights are only on Twitch, not on YouTube. So we're going to go through, like I said, we're going through a load of games and stuff like that. So that's Stuntman for the Game Boy Advance, that's one. Then we move on to, as well in that first week of January, we had London Racer 2, we had Driver 2, and we took a crack at the Colin Mcrae Rally 1 game on PC and started doing runs of Novice, Intermediate, Expert, and the Rally School. We also did USA Racer as well within that first week. Then came World's Scariest Police Chases on the PS1. This was a blind runners race towards the end of the month. Rally Trophy, Destruction Derby 2 for the PS1, Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase, Driver San Francisco, can't believe it's been nearly a year since I did that, and Cars. So yeah, just to I'll run through a load of these games and things like that. So London Racer has been improved since, so we did the tournament races and things like that, but that's been improved since. We'll come back to some of these games later down the line, because some of them I have touched on more than one occasion, so that's that. The Driver 2 was the warp categories, which was discovered by Coops. I actually started having a crack at those and doing the warping and stuff like that, mainly on emulator, to be honest. Again, Colin Mcrae Rally, we'll come back to that later down the line, because them runs were actually improved in the latter half of the year, so we'll come back to them when we get to them. Same with USA Racer, we did do the tournament mode any races, like we did in London Racer 2. Again, now this was thanks to Cal doing the blind runners race, and yeah, basically didn't complete all the races and still managed to beat the tournament mode. So that's how the new category came about. So pardon me for the stomach ache there. So then we're moving on to a few other highlights from the year. World's Scariest Police Chases. Now, I'm not going to lie. This was the time when we had World's Scariest Police Chases, Scooby-Doo and Cyberchase, and Cars, the 3 blind runner races. So World's Scariest Police Chases was, in my opinion, one of the hardest runs I've done. Not the hardest one. I think that would come down to a driver run, but we'll get on to that. But yeah, World's Scariest Police Chases, it's a tough as nuts game for what I remember when I did the runs of it. Very tough. Definitely something that if I went back to that, it would be tough to go back to. Considering that my run was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. And I probably would do a console run if I was mad enough. Rally Trophy was more a case of just casual for, you know, for giggles basically. I played a little bit that a couple of days prior, and then we were just like, oh, we'll just make up a run for Rally Trophy, and we did, and went okay. So not a lot to report on that, it was just like the first run. Destruction Derby 2, we got sub 50. At the time, it was the only sub 50. So, sweet on that one, we managed to hit the sub 50, which was nice. It's been lowered since, but we'll get on to a few things for that one. Scooby-Doo and Cyberchase for the PS1. Again, tough as nails game, especially in, I think, the Egypt level, which was quite bad. It's a very hard game. A game that's for kids was really hard. It was very difficult. And fair to say that Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase, yeah. If I'd ever come back to that, I don't know. I'd need to be in the mood for it. Driver San Francisco, a run I've been meaning to do for years. Now, I wanted to do it originally on the 360 because I've had the 360 since release in 2011. But it was more or less going to be a 360 run. Nothing else, just a 360 run. Fair enough. And then obviously I got hold of the PC version and decided to do one run. Now, it was my first run, so obviously it can be very much improved. I could probably go under 3 hours with a bit of luck. But again, we'd have to see about that in the future. Not a bad run, I'll admit, but there was a few mistakes and things like that that cost me time. I think I lost time in Jericho, most notably towards the end of the game, which sucked because I think I lost like 3 minutes there and in a lot of different places anyway. I didn't know how to do the missions fast enough or anything like that, but again, it was a new game, so yeah, forgive me on that one. Also, I'm going to have a quick drink, and I am having a drink because it might be my last one. Well, it is my last one before Christmas, so you know. Anyway, so Cars. What is there to say about Cars? Well, first of all, the game's quite easy. Second of all, we didn't really know how to do that one at first, I'm pretty sure. I think we all did a run of it. We weren't sure. I mean, it was a blind runner's race, so we wasn't sure how to do it. But then, once we did it, we did another, I think me and, not Sid, what's he called? I think it's Tyler. Ty Fuzzle, I think it was. Me and him did a race afterwards, because we did the main blind one. It was like, right, okay, now we know what we're doing, let's do another one. Which, my PB was a lot better, and it's still on the leaderboard, so I'm quite happy about that. Now, that's January wrapped up. Now, I'm just going to say that there was marathons during these months, but there's that many, and I forgot when they all were, most of them. There's some that have stood out more than others. There was UKSG Winter, I believe, in January. So there was no runs from me for that one, because that was where Shep, if I remember correctly, he went to that one. And that was the first one that I'd skipped since UKSG Fall 2018. I think that was the last one I skipped. So there was that in that month as well, in January. That's just a notable mention as well. Is there anything else that happened in January? Obviously, I had like Autosport Car Show and the unfortunate loss of my dog. What else? No, I can't really remember much else. But yeah, so January was a bit of a good year on the game side, not so much on the personal side, but not too bad. Anyway, moving on. Thought I had somebody in the room then. Yeah, moving on. February. So, February's going to be interesting. So, February was interesting. So, I don't have much for February actually. But a few notes I've got of some of the games that I did, and also a marathon or two. So February was relatively quiet, yeah. So Colin Mcrae Rally 2, we beat the world record on New Game Plus, lowered it down to a 1:17.21. I did do a 1:17.26 before ESA Winter. However, that run didn't count because the skin was modified for the car. That was when the modding skin fiasco thing happened, and we agreed to not allow that run. I didn't agree to it at first, and obviously the moderators, it was pretty much like 4 against 1, so going with the majority, we ended up rejecting it, and I had to do a run that was either matched or better. But yeah, we did a run that was 5 seconds quicker, the standard game, standard car and everything, so that was pretty good. So that was something. So we did the 1:17.26 before ESA Winter. Then ESA Winter happened, which we'll get onto in a minute. And then when I came back, within a week of me coming back, I did a 1:17.21. And beat it by 5 seconds. But we'll come back to Comic Rally 2 because there's a lot to mention on that one, I think. Or a little bit more to mention than that. So House of Dead 3, I got back into running that again. Mainly because I did run it in October last year for the first time, especially around Halloween. And it's a Christmas then, around Halloween time it was last year. And it did pretty well, did quite well. You guys seemed to enjoy it and whatnot, that was quite nice. We did a couple of runs of it, and obviously it was doing practice runs solo wise for a bit. I had Jack over as well in February, my co-op partner who we were running this ESA Winter. So, speaking of ESA Winter, we've still got some things to come before that. I did a run of Ford Racing 2, I think it was Ford Collection. So, Ford Racing 2, the Ford Collection 8%, I did a PB time on that, well, first run. I haven't gone back to that game since, I haven't done a run of that since, so one day, I do want to improve on that. Then we get to the next one, which was funnily enough 2 days before ESA Winter started, so Need for Speed Carbon Own the City. Now again, we'll come back to this, but it was my first run. At the time we beat the world record by about 4 minutes, I think it was a 3:45 I did at the time. So that beat the world record by about 4 minutes, which was quite nice for a first run. Although we said it could be improved, and obviously we improved that later down the line. Next thing to mention, and this is crucial now, so ESA Winter 2020. We'll get on to Need for Speed later. ESA Winter 2020 happened not long after Carbon, so I did Carbon on the City for the PSP, and then ESA Winter, which was for a week. So I had a birthday meal with the guys. It was absolutely great fun. It was awesome that so many people turned out for that. I had a great week, albeit some things happened and have been resolved since, but been pretty damn good. So a few notable mentions about ESA Winter. So we ran House of Dead 3 co-op with Jack of Hearts. I did my Mcrae Rally 2 run, the New Game Plus Championship, and I did a Burnout 3 takedown bonus run with Mackie Backy, aka Mark. It was really sound and proper down to earth. I really got to have a good chat, and I really made a great friend with him, which was absolutely awesome. Also, hey King, I'm here and listening while lurking, that's fine, no problem. Yeah, Mark's a pretty cool guy. That was it. So, Trigger had introduced me to him. He was playing Miami Vice, and the way it happened, I think it was Trigger was streaming something, I forget what it was, and he hosted or raided Mark. I was like, oh, this guy seems pretty cool, so I followed him and everything, then turns out he was going to ESA Winter, and I watched it for a good, hour or two, and quite enjoyed his company. I thought it was, pretty cool down-to-earth guy, and everything like that. My opinion's not changed on him, he's still a pretty cool down-to-earth guy. I haven't spoken to him too much since ESA. He does pop his head in the stream, it's always nice to chat to him. But yeah, he's a very cool guy. He was down to... So, the Burnout 3 thing, the way that came about was I had nobody on co-op, as in nobody on... what do you call them? Co-partner, voice commentator, co-commentator with me, and I thought it would be nice to have somebody with me. So I asked Joshimas originally. He said, yeah, if I'm awake, I'll do it. I said, right, okay, it's quite early in the morning. So anyway, I asked Mark, because he said, I don't reckon I'll be there, but I probably will be there. You know, I'll probably make it. So I asked Mark and said, just in case Josh doesn't want to do it, do you want to do it? And he was like, yeah, I'm down for that, I'll do it. So Josh didn't get up till a couple of hours after the run had happened, and Mark was up and he came down and we had a good chat and everything. And literally, that run was probably the favourite out of the bunch. The CMR2 run was great because we had the Stig sitting alongside me, not saying anything, doing a great job. His identity will be secret, but I'll put it this way, there was more than one Stig that week. But anyway, on a different note, like I said, going back to Mark and Burnout, so he done the Burnout 3 takedown co-op run with me, and it was one of my favourite runs that I did that event because, like, me and Jack started off pretty well. We did the co-op run, which we had a lot of fun with. We had the UKSG guys sat behind us, it was fantastic. The CMR2 run, the UKSG guys turned up for that, and then the Burnout 3 run, because it was early in the morning, there was a few guys scattered about. Granted, I don't expect everyone to just turn up for my run because it's me. Believe me, that doesn't bother me. But the fact that me and Mark, we literally, like, I was just crashing into cars and doing whatever. I was just doing the run basically, and to have somebody like Mark sat next to me chatting was absolutely phenomenal. It was really cool, and I felt very relaxed. And that's kind of how I like to be when it comes to speedruns. Granted, I do look like I'm stressed half the time with some of the games that I run, but having like a guy like Mark there, or even Joshima's, if he'd done the co-commentator thing, it was pretty awesome, so I won't forget that. I also got to hang around with English Ben for a bit during that event as well, and Tricro and a load of the UKSG guys. There's too many guys to mention, but they know who they are and they're all pretty cool guys. And then after ESA Winter, so this is the week after we came back, I decided to do a run of GTA 4, the Baldur Gatoni. It's the only GTA run I've ever done, I believe. I haven't done any others. I intend to come back to that one day, and that was basically just to see how long I could finish the game and stuff on PC. So that was something that happened, like I said, latter end of February. Also, Mcrae 3 submissions opened. I've noted that as one of the notable mentions because we obviously had the marathon be set up, and I announced it and everything, and Joseph announced it, and Hib announced it. And then obviously we opened the submissions up and we got quite a few submissions, which brings us on to March. So, in March, a couple of little things happened. Some not too significant in terms of speedruns, but again, we'll come back to these. Now, there is going to be, as I've said, for the entirety of the year, there's going to be marathons I may have missed or forgotten about. I do apologise for that. Just the year, how it's gone by and how fast it's gone. So the first thing I've got for March is, that was when we did the Colin Mcrae Rally 2 fun runs with the steering wheel. So I did a run with the Mini Cooper, I did a run with the Peugeot, the 205 on Expert, I did a run with the Seat, so the regular novice championship, all with my little steering wheel and pedals, which was quite fun. And again, it was just for a laugh, and I quite enjoyed doing that. I was very relaxed when I did that as well. It's a bit more difficult on the steering wheel, I thought, but not too bad. It's still, like, it's not as input precise as my controller, but it's still good. I reckon you could probably get used to it though, and probably start doing a decent time with the steering wheel. But who knows? I don't remember what the runs were, but they were what they were. I'm sure I heard somebody though. I'll keep my headphone off just for the sake of things. So other notable mentions are Space Invaders for the PlayStation 1. We did runs of that. I started doing runs of that. So there was that. There was also Stuart Little Big City Adventures as well, which was on the PC because nobody ran that. Yes? No, I'm alright, thanks. Knew somebody was calling me. Sorry. Right. So getting back to this, there probably might be a few times where people will shout at me. So if they do, I do apologise. So another thing to mention is we did the Stuntman playthrough. It was about 4 hours. Most notable thing from that playthrough was 2 things that happened. First of all was I did the corkscrew jump on a Whoopin' and a Hollering, which was the second film. And I did it first try, and I was gobsmacked to my to do it first try. Actually, no, it's 3 things. That's one of them. The second one was the first act in a Whoopin' and a Hollering. Again, the second film. It was the first act in that one, though. And basically, there's a nitro jump at the end. The car went flying, I remember this, and the car flipped over, and it had maximum damage. It was 1 hit away from frigging gaming over, and I stopped the car. I got it stopped in the stop box, and it was completely wrecked, and I was like, oh my god, how did I just do that? Which is pretty cool. Very cool. Again, very tricky, but cool. Pretty good. And then the other thing that happened with that playthrough, which again was very significant to me, was when I got to the end of the game and I finally finished it, I got the credits going, and then after about 5 seconds the game froze, and I was like, uh-oh. I finished the game, then the game froze, and I was like, oh no. Luckily I'd finished the game, but that was kind of ironic. I've been playing it for like 4 hours. Funnily enough, I've been playing that Stuntman game today. I've been playing it on my North American PS2, because I've got a North American version. It's not that much different. Barely any, actually. The frame rate's still as bad. So yeah, it's the playthrough was done on live on here in March, and then got uploaded, I think. When did they get uploaded? It got uploaded in April or May. I can't remember, but it is on YouTube. Speaking of which, hello YouTube, because this is probably also going to be on YouTube as well. Other things to mention, depends what DMCA says anyway. But other things to mention as well is Mcrae 3 happened. So yeah, that went down really well. I've actually got a few notes for that. So that went down really well. We did raise a considerable amount of money for a first event. It wasn't like 200, 300 quid, but I think it was like €65 or something like that, or €70, €80, I can't remember. But it was still pretty good. I was still fairly impressed. Granted, I wanted to hit 100 for the first event, but you can't have everything. Fair enough. But we did have a few hitches, but apart from that, there was actually some really cool runs. Interesting new games that I'd never seen before. From new and old runners. So we had guys like Tomb join in. We had myself, Joseph, Softcorp with Monster Truck Madness and CMR2. There was, I think it was like a Neo Geo Drift, new technology or something, which was a Neo Geo racing game. And there was a few others as well. Mobile One Rally Championship for the PS1. Top Gear Rally for the Nintendo 64 made an appearance. What's that called? I think it's called GT Racing 2 Rally Racing, which was on the Game Boy Advance. That made an appearance. I think Rusty did that as well, which was pretty damn good. So we had quite a few decent runs. I think there's a few more I forgot to mention, but there is quite a fair few. All the runs, by the way, are uploaded on BSG's channel, and you can also find them on the Mcrae Twitch channel if you want to watch them back. It's highlighted from start to finish, opening to closing, with all the events in between over the 2 days that we did, which was really good. We did actually have to change the schedule slightly because one runner didn't turn up, so that's that. But you know, all for learning for the next time. In terms of, like I said, in terms of hitches, I think there was probably that, maybe times where it was I didn't get my timing right, and I still can't really do the tech too well. So it's like the timing right of switching between the runner, like you saying, right, okay, you're going to be live in like 10 seconds, and then saying to them, yeah, you're going to be live in 10 seconds. It wasn't really my first one, because this is more like my second marathon I've done. Actually third, because I did drive a marathon. Stick around, by the way. But we've got UKSG Spring 2020, which also happened at the end of March, which was Space Invaders and Stuart Little Big City Adventures. Now, the following month, in April, because this is going into April now, so we start April off with Gran Turismo 3. for the PlayStation 2. Now this was just an arcade new game plus category. Nothing special. But it was my first run. It was very casual. I remember, I think Grizz, Tiny Tim, and a couple other guys from the UKSG community were in that run when I did it. And it was a first run, so I wasn't expecting anything fantastic from it, because, again, it was a first run, so... Yep, Tiny Tim was in it. He made an appearance. I'm trying to think who else made an appearance now. I said Grizz, Tiny Tim, myself. I think Tricro might have turned up for that one. I could be wrong, though. I'm not sure. There was a couple of guys that turned up, which was nice. What else did we have? We had V-Rally 2 for the PS1. So I did a couple of runs of that. It was basically de-rusting. We did V-Rally 2 runs. I did V-Rally 2 runs for Mcrae 3, but that was a last-minute thing because of, like I said before, the guy not turning up. So I did practice of V-Rally 2 and also Driver You Are the Wheelman, aka Driver 1 for PS1. Now you may remember that in April we practiced this quite a bit. That was because on April 12th, I think it was April 12th anyway, ESA Together, it was live over a full week, and I had V-Rally 2 and Driver 1, to which I was joined by Iceman, the the current world record holder for Driver, on emulator, I should point out, but still, he's a pretty quick guy when it comes to Driver, and his run can be downright even faster, he's told me. So, Iceman, from Australia, he is basically he's a pretty cool guy and everything like that. He's done runs before and everything, and he actually stuck with me on co-commentator for that. So that was quite good. That was like middle of April when that was on. We did Stuart Little 2 for the PC, so you may remember the little game that was dead short to like 7 minutes. Do I mean Kimmy? No. No, Kimmy is... No, Farrod. Not Kimmy. Which brings me on to a few other things, actually. I put playthrough on, I shouldn't... Hang on a second. Get rid of that. Actually, I'll put the bracket at the end. There we go. So, moving forward with April, we had Pursuit Force Extreme Justice. So I started doing runs of those. I only did like 2 or 3 runs, I think. We did Pursuit Force on the PSP, the first one, and that was just a casual playthrough, which I think was about 2 and a bit hours-ish. 2 and a bit, 3 hours. Went down quite a treat with everybody on YouTube as well, so that was quite good. And then we had Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge, which was a blind runners race. Now, anything that's been done by blind runners, I've actually put it in brackets. So if you hear me say something and then blind runners after it, that's why. Now, Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge. Now, this is actually going to transfer us from April into May, because we had the first race, the blind race, when it was April, and when the rematch took place, it was in May. Now, we did a rematch at the end of April, but then there was another match that I decided to do on my own, and I took the world record on the 2nd of May. At the time, I'll come back to why I'm saying it is at the time. Basically, got better down the line, but we'll get to that later on. But yeah, we got the world record on the 2nd of May, and I think that was my 3rd full attempt at the game, if I'm not mistaken, so that was pretty good. Then came another blind runners race within a week out of that, which was Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped for the PlayStation 1. We had the blind runners race for that, which was quite cool. My first Crash Bandicoot run, I believe. Is that my first? I think it is my first. Yeah, my first Crash Bandicoot run, so that was quite nice. And funnily enough, Warped was a game I'd actually played before. That's not to say I haven't finished the game before I did and everything like that, but I hadn't played it in God knows how many years. So with that one, obviously it's a case of, it was a race, it was blind pretty much for me, I just didn't know which levels were which. And then we did the rematch, and I say rematch, I did another run on my own, and it came down even more. So that was Crash Bandicoot 3. Then we had Burnout Paradise Remastered. So you may remember I did the Big Surf Island stuff. So the any percent and the 100%. Me, Nim, Trigger, Doots were all messing about online as well. That was another notable stream. We've also got our first full run. So within about a day or so of this, we had Pursuit Force on the PSP. We had a full run of that, and that went down excitingly well, I should mention. It went down very, very well. We also had a Portal 2 race the following week, I think, following that, which was a blind runners race, and that was like 8 and a bit hours. It was ridiculous how long that took, if I remember correctly. But it was quite a good game. I do like the game, it's just for running it, I had no idea what I was doing. Obviously, it's a puzzle game, it's a blind run, it's a first run. Speeding through a game like Portal is not easy, I'll just say that. Then we had Toka 2 touring cars. We did the challenge percent and the championship runs, which was when I was running that for about 2 weeks, or a couple of days at least. We also had Space Invaders for the Game Boy Advance. Funnily enough, during one of those streams we had, again, Apache, Tiny Tim I think showed up as well. I'm trying to remember who else it was, but we had a couple of guys that turned up. And that was just like a casual stream. I was just like doing runs and they're in the chat, which was quite good. So we had that run. That was going well, and it did go well. Then we had Peggle Deluxe. Now, Peggle was to finish off May. That was actually going to be the third blind runners race in 4 weeks that I actually entered in. Speaking of blind runners, there's quite a few coming up. So Peggle was at the end of May, transitioning to June. Now, Pursuit Force made its own way back. Now, I mention this because Pursuit Force in May was just doing Warlords, the Capelli family, and I think that was about it. And I also did, if I remember correctly, there was the Fastest Furs Marathon, I think that was May. BSG Online 3 was one of them. There was a BSG Online 2 as well, but I believe that was in April when I learnt Stuart Little 2. I could be wrong, but yeah, there's that to mention. Was there any other marathons I did? Can't remember. Maybe. So that's something else that's like a notable mention. I might remember a few more off the top of my head. There is a few that I can think of, but I don't know when they were. So I'm guessing around I might not remember when the times were, like months. But anyway, so that's May. Transitioning over into June. So June had us do the Toka 2 touring cars, the racing league stuff, which went on for a considerable couple of weeks into July, and then ended abruptly because of complications, shall we just say, for that time being, and everything like that. But that was quite fun when we did it, I thought. Looking back on it now, it was quite fun, but it was also very stressful because lag and It was also my first racing league I participated in for a couple of years. Again, it was nice to stream a racing league on here for a change. We had Pursuit Force, the full game Pursuit Force, any percent. And that was on the PSP. Again, did it in one go. Also, hey, no Duck Ross, how you doing? Is that what the emo is? Yeah. We also went back to Pursuit Force Extreme Justice. We did the any percent New Game Plus. That was when we'd improved the times for them games. We've also got Kirby's Adventure for the NES. Another blind runners race. Very fun. Difficult. I died a lot, but very fun. It was pretty good. We also had Lego Racers, which was, as I'm sure here may remember, the ending to that run. So Lego Racers was pretty good. I enjoyed that for the most part. I didn't know how it worked. I kind of saw it as Mario Kart with Lego, being honest about the game. But it had a pretty clutch ending. For those that weren't aware, so there's like a racer that you have to beat on the last race. You have a 3-lap race. The circuit's awful. And if you collect 3 bricks, in the game and you collect like a green, it jumps you forward. You warp forward on the track. Anyway, I was miles back and I managed to do this warp jump, and it jumped me across the line on the last lap with like a second to spare ahead of the guy who was second, who was miles ahead of everybody else. So yeah, that was a pretty cool moment, and it was pretty funny as well because I was laughing as well because I was like, how the hell did I just pull that off? It was really funny. So yeah, that was Lego Racers. May come back to that one day if I get a chance. So, after Lego Racers, we've got Ridge Racer Unbounded. Now, I did a playthrough of it originally and found it quite fun. The game crashed a couple of times, wasn't really asked, but it was alright. It's not the greatest racing game I've ever played, nor is it the greatest in the Ridge Racer franchise. By a long shot, it's not the greatest. But it was nice to play through the game again, just casually at my own pace. I found it quite enjoyable playing it through casually. So more Pursuit Force stuff happened. Again, the runs that I was doing at the time were more Capelli and all the rest of it. It was pretty interesting. So there was more Pursuit Force there. Alongside this, we had Over the Hedge, which was a blind runner's race. I think that was like 3.5 hours. And if I remember distinctly, there was Over the Hedge on the PC, the blind runner's race against Mango and the other guys. And then I did Pursuit Force after it in one stream. 2 big games, well, not massive, but 2 big games back to back. I did it. I was quite happy with myself after I'd finished that, and I was also knackered. Because Pursuit Force was like, I've just done a 3.5 hour run and now I'm doing a 2 hour run. Like, this cannot go any worse. But the Pursuit Force run actually had a few good moments in it, and I'm quite happy about that one. I probably will come back to that next year, but we'll see. Moving into June, actually, we started to take a look at the Ridge Racer franchise. So, Ridge Racer 1 for the PSP. I did the basic tour, I think it was. Possibly, I can't remember. Either that or it was the Win All 24 or something like that. One of them categories. I did that. June was also the month that I'd had the Novice Championship record snatched from me by Maria. So, notable mention about this one. So, I think it was towards the end of the month at some point. We had the Novice Championship record. It was at a 54.30. Maria knocked it down by 1 second. That made the difference to a 54.29. I did a world record face-off, and that was pretty good. I keep thinking I've heard a car outside. Sorry about that. But yeah, I did a face-off video, which is on YouTube if you want to watch it, on the YouTube channel, and basically you can find it on there. Pretty good. You'll have to excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I do apologise. I just kind of disappeared and buggered off. Also, Zorfkov, welcome. So we left off in June, I think, going into July, which reminds me I need to scroll down. Right, so June, again, just to quickly re-glance over June very quickly. So June was the Tokatu Touring Car Racing League. There was Pursuit Force runs. There was the Pursuit Force Extreme Justice. The Kirby's Adventure for the NES, the Blind Runners race of that. Lego Racers, again, Blind Runners race had a clutch ending. Ridge Racer Unbounded was a playthrough. Over the Hedge, again, Blind Runners race. And in the same stream we did any percent for Pursuit Force. So that was the same stream. So 2 birds, 1 stone basically. We did a run of Ridge Racer 1 as well towards the end of June. And I had my record snatched off me for the Novice Championship on Colin Mcrae Rally 1 for the PS1. by Maria by 1 second, because that's all that was in it. And then within like a day I'd already beat it by about another 18. So yeah, interesting. That comparison video actually between me and Maria is on YouTube if anyone wants to go and watch it. If anyone's intrigued or interested. The Portal 2 run was in May, by the way, Riv. You didn't really miss much, I was just re-glossing with June. It just does that. It just does that, Pharaoh, don't worry about it. Right, then we move on to July. So July was more Ridge Racer 1, we had Ridge Racer 2 as well, albeit there was only like 1 or 2 runs for these games, nothing much. Driver 2, so I believe this was when I did console runs. Yes, I remember Driver 2. So Driver 2 was when we was doing the any % with warps on console for practice for UKSG Summer. So that's why I did those. We had F1 2012, which we came back to very briefly because... What's he called? Who was it? I forget. There's a Polish runner. I forget what the name of him's called. Siziman Loco or something? Oh, what's he called? No, it wasn't him, was it? 1 minute. I need to find this. My Speedrun.com profile should have it. Where's it gone? Where has it gone? Where is it? Where's that gone? F1 2012. Here we go. No, so the guy is called O1EO? O1EO? I think it is. Yeah, O1EO. So a guy who's doing the F1 2012 stuff. He'd beat my time, I think, and then within about a week I decided, or 2 weeks, I decided to give it a try and better it. Because I didn't realize, I had time saved, but I didn't realize I had that much. And then I obviously improved by about a minute to take the record back. And it still stands now, which is quite nice. Let's see. Then we had UKSG Summer 2020. F1 2013. Grip Shift, we made a start with that. Albeit that was, the run's very short, so there wasn't really a lot to it. Although I do plan on coming back to Grip Shift because there's a few categories in that I want to just try and do. Put my names on a few of the boards for them. Not everything, just a few. Formula 1 2000. Now this was a blind runners race and it kind of went badly for me because the emulator kept crashing. And then once I figured out how to stop it from crashing, which was basically use an earlier version of an emulator, it basically allowed me to do my run, which was nice. And that's how I did my run. That was nice. Then we did Ridge Racer Unbounded. We did the any % run, where I think because Mark had done a run about 2 months before that, so that had happened. Then we had Colin Mcrae Dirt 2 for the PSP, the career mode any % and 100%, which was when it was me versus Ryzen. Them days happened. Forza Horizon 2 for the Xbox 360, the any %, which I improved. I did 2 runs of that and improved on it. So we did that in July. That rounds July off actually. That moves us into August. Now there is going to be some, we're going to see a few repeats. We've already had a few repeats until now, but there is a few repeats going into August. So in August we had Ridge Racer 7, we did the Ridge State Grand Prix any % and 100% categories. I also picked my PS3 up as well, late July I believe, which was good. I also got a capture card which was okay for about 5 minutes and then just didn't want to work properly. It wasn't as good as I wanted it. It wasn't as good as my older capture card, so that's gone. So PGR 3, we did the new game category. This was for the Xbox 360, so we did the new game category. Because I did New Game Plus sometime in the year, I think, or last year, and then we did New Game. New Game's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Then there was more Driver 2. Now this was doing stuff like complete Chicago. I think complete Chicago, complete Havana, with warps, not without, with warps. We also had Stuart Little Big City Adventures that made a return. I improved the PB on that. Ford Racing 3 was when we did all them runs of Ford Racing 3, and we were doing the runs more or less. We did a couple of them runs. Downtown Run, that was that crappy racing meme game that blind runners did, and the handling was awful and shenanigans ensued. So that was Downtown. Sorry, Downtown Run. So that happened. And then at the end of the month, at the end of the month, I upgraded my PC. Thanks to a help from my mate Matt, who had helped put it together. He might be here, I don't know, but yeah, big thanks to him for helping me upgrade my PC and get all that going. So we done that. That moves us out of August and into summer. Now, summer wasn't really much because... Sorry, not summer. Already, it was still in summer. August going into September, I mean. So September, we had Colin Mcrae Rally on the PC. Because obviously I'd had like Windows 10 installed and we got everything going. We did all the categories, so we did the novice again, the intermediate, the expert, because we found out how to get the game working without crashing. We did 100% as well, which was about 5.5 hours longish, going on 6 hours, which was pretty good. I was glad to get the first and only run done of that. Which was quite happy.
To France or something,
then we had Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. I did a playthrough of that. Very enjoyable from start to finish. People seem to quite enjoy that. Yeah, you guys seem to enjoy it and were there with me and everything. It was great. It was, again, that's what a playthrough is. It's just casual. Don't have to worry about it. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed playing through that game again because it has been years since I played it through from start to finish. And, you know, I don't mean play bits, I mean play the whole game through. I just felt like playing it. Come the end of Most Wanted, actually, this was kind of crossing over into October now. So there wasn't really a lot that happened in September. We did the categories of Colin Mcrae Rally on separate days and then the 100%. Obviously, then they had the Most Wanted. And this crossed over into October. Now, the crossover between September and October, we also had, I believe at the end of September, Art of Rally released. And we streamed it, I think, the day it released as well. So we started the playthrough on that, which went into October. Again, very enjoyable. You guys seem to enjoy it as well. It was quite a long playthrough, but again, one to be very enjoyable. Definitely worth going back to for just finishing up and playing it, because I haven't finished it yet. And it's had a few new updates since then with new cars and stuff, which is cool. Also in October, so now we're getting a bit more modern. More new, sooner to where we are now. So going into October, like I said, we had the Art of Rally playthrough. We had Colin Mcrae Rally 2. I set the world record at the time. 1:19:18, I think it was. For the Novice Championship, the regular championship, and it was when I did the race against the Polish community. So I had Mr. Mary, I think Franz, Fairrod may have been in that race. I do excuse me if Fairrod wasn't, but there was quite a few other, and a few other guys as well. I forget how many of us there were. Chotu was in there. Yeah, Chotu was in there as well. Can't forget Chotu. Yeah, Chotu, Franz, Fairrod, myself. There was two other guys. Who were they? Two other guys from the Polish community. I can't remember. Someone might remember them, but I can't remember. Anyway, so that run was quite a fun one. Quite enjoyable. Ryzen, no, he wasn't in it. I think we'd invited him, but he turned it down. Sheeman? Sheeman? Yeah, him. I think he was in it as well. But yeah, quite an enjoyable race. Very enjoyable, and we just chat we just chatted shit basically for an hour and a half, so that was fun. Let's see. Then there was Ford Racing 3. So we came back, funnily enough. So October was... October was where the problems started to appear as well. There was good stuff, but October had a few problems of its own. So in October, we had the Ford Racing 3. I did the any percent world record at the time. And it was when I was doing practice for UKSM. So I did UKSM online, I think, was that month. It was like UKSM Mini 5 or something. I forget which one it was. But that was also on, and I'd been selected, yes, you can do it, and it was Pursuit Force and all the rest of it. Anyway, so lo and behold, we had problems with my SSD drive, which caused me headaches for about a week straight, or at least a couple of weeks. Basically, after I finished watching a film on my hard drive, the computer just, after I'd shut it down, and then it just wouldn't start up properly. It wouldn't boot into Windows 10 properly. It kept saying it wouldn't start and all the rest of it. Turns out one of my SSDs, the one that I had with Windows 7 on it for the longest time, was causing the problem. It was the probable cause. So that was in October. But it doesn't stop there. No. So we missed UKSM online, which was a shame because I really wanted to show off Pursuit Force Extreme Justice. Pursuit Force Extreme Justice, which was the first time it was going to be shown in a marathon. However, it got its shot later that month. So House of the Dead 1 to 4, we did a run of all of those in succession. And as you may remember, we played through House of the Dead Overkill, which was the Halloween stream. It was a very fun game to play through. Very funny. A lot of swearing, but I think I had quite a good time playing that through. It was very funny. It was very gory. There was a lot of swearing. There was a bit of nudity in that, but I mean, it kind of warns you from the get-go that there is stuff in there that you're like, ooh, okay. Nothing that bad. I mean, I've seen worse, being honest, in video games. There's worse video games, but I quite enjoyed it. Found it very funny, and the sarcasm of the characters, the narrator talking over things like, in a world where anything can happen. You know, it's like, oh, these two guys. It was just dead funny. I forget what some of the lines he said, but it was very good. Yeah, what's he called? Agent G and something Washington. Not Denzel Washington. What was he called? Agent Washington. I don't know. But it was very funny as well. It was like, prepare to be titillated. It was like, because they're two strippers or something. It was very funny. So that was the Halloween stream. Then we had Driver 76 on the PSP. That was when I was doing PB improvements. We also did Pursuit Force Extreme Justice practice runs as well, because at the end of the month, we had a few things. So in October, we had Shots Fired Resurrection. There was another marathon that I'd got House of Dead 3 in. Oh, Hallow Speed Marathon, but that was November. I think Thunderthorn 1? Was it September that though? Oh, when was it? When was the Tuscany Grand Prix? Because it was on the same day. I just finished watching that. Was it September when that was? Fairod. Riv, help me out. When was the Tuscany Grand Prix again? Was it September? Because October was Imola, wasn't it? I think it was September. Because we went to Imola in October, and we had Nürburgring after that, and then Portugal was after that. I think. Am I getting these right? Was it in October? Was that the Tuscany Grand Prix? When was the Tuscany one? Was that it? 31st of October. Can't have been the 31st of October because I was off work. That was a Saturday. It was the 1st of November. No, that was Imola, that. Yeah, that was Imola. Imola was at the end of October, start of November, wasn't it? So Tuscany was October. Yeah, so Tuscany Grand Prix. Yeah. So Thundathon was also yeah, well it's Emilia Romagna is the Imola race. That was the 2-day event. So it'll be the Tuscan Grand Prix. Pretty sure that was October. Wait, when was... Christ, when was Monza? Was it the race? It was the race after Monza, so it was it'll be September? September, yeah. Yeah. Right. So we had Thundathon September as well. Again, this was something I forgot to mention. Yeah, so September we had Tuscan Grand Prix and all the rest of it. But we also had Thundathon as well, my first event with them, with that bunch of guys, which was a really cool set of people that run it, and as well runners alike. It's a very cool event. Would definitely recommend submitting for it, because they take on a variety of games. I believe the plan is to do 4 events next year, and each one's going to be different, with the last one being the one where anybody can submit anything. So would highly recommend, if anyone wants to submit for that, go and submit for the marathons, providing your game matches the criteria as well for the marathons theme, you know. So that was another thing in September. October, yeah, shots fired. Hello Speed Marathon was in November. So now we're getting a bit more closer to home. But also in November we did the F1 2014 stuff. London Racer 2. We did the categories for those. Dirt 3. If I remember rightly, the London Racer 2 videos were recorded. Could be wrong. Sounds about right. Yep, so we've got London Racer 2. Also, hey TG. Dirt 3. We've also got those as well. So we've got Dirt 3 in November. Ford Street Racing. Came back and improved PB in that. We did first runs for Ford Mustang The Legend Lives for the Xbox, which was quite cool. Did a run of Little Big Planet for the PS3, the first one. Did a blind runners race, that was quite good. And in November we also had the Colin Mcrae Rally comparison videos as well. That were YouTube only. So if you're on Twitch you wouldn't have seen them unless you watch my YouTube channel or subscribe to that. But yeah, I did a load of comparison videos. Not loads, but about 5 or 6, I think. Wait, hang on. It's more like 4, to be honest. More like 4. 3 or 4, should I say. The comparison videos as well. I did those in November. Then this transfers us into this month, into December. So, December, we had F1 2014, which was when we did all of the scenario modes. So we did scenario mode very easy in November, and that was a recorded run that was uploaded to YouTube. December was actually the streaming of the F1 2014 scenario modes at the start of this month. I'd set the best time for all the categories, some of which didn't even have a time on them. We'll get back to these as well, because there's going to be a few things I'll mention afterwards. So, USA Racer, we talked about the world record for tournament mode, all races. Paris Marcel Racing 2, we beat the world record for about a week or so. Hey Ben! You're catching us at the end, but we're keeping going, Like I said, this run, I'm probably going to get through these pretty quick, just because I don't want this to be too long. Ridge Racer 6, we reduced the time for World Explorer, any percent, reduced it down from 149.11 to 147.57 to a 147.35, and then finally to a 147.27, which was done at No Holidays Allowed on the 16th of December, which was literally about a week ago, because it's the 23rd today when I'm doing this. So yeah, that's come down a lot. We improved the time for Need for Speed Carbon Own the City on PSP to a 3:37.07 with a new route, which was thanks to obviously Renner, who'd originally done the route. Me and DJ Atomica had done tweaks to that to make it a bit quicker. So there's that. We've improved that PB. But since then, other things have happened. Obviously, on the 15th of December, we had the Christmas stream. It was quite fun. Very, very fun. And then quite recently, we've done Red River 2, aka the Driver 2 PC port, which is unofficial. We've done runs of that lately. And very recently, we've done Ford Racing 3 and reduced the time for the Ford collection any percent. And that is 2020 wrapped as quick as I could do it, really. Now, there's still a few things to mention, so we'll get to them. I haven't mentioned yet, Ben, but I think that'll be kept a secret. That's going to be kept a secret, Ben. And yes, I am going to keep secrets from people. So, shh, don't say anything, Ben. Shush. Don't say anything. So, right. So, over the course about the year. So, since the start of the year, there have been various changes that have happened. Now, these are speedrunning times and who's beat them and what they've been reduced to. Okay? So, since I've done runs of these games, times have been beaten or have come down because of these. Now, I'm personally looking at those that have not either knocked me off my perch, knocked me off the number one spot, or those that have come in, dominated, off again. Them sort of, you know, some people, no, a few people haven't even done that. So, Colin Mcrae Rally 2, the Novice Championship, recently got beaten and reduced down to a 1:18.44 by Zorkov. Yes, Ben! And it works! There you go, you get to see the new sub emote for a bit. Nice. Sorry, my mic's very loud. But yeah, that's my new sub emote. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate you. Welcome aboard, sir. I absolutely love that. Believe it or not, I actually got that from... what was it? I got that from... The GIF is from The Breakfast Club, for those that might have seen it in the 80s. And the sound clip was from something that James May has done on YouTube called Sarnies of the 70s. But yeah, so we've got CMR2. So my novice time got beaten and it got reduced to a 1:18.44 by Zorkov. In Need for Speed Carbon on the City on PSP, the any percent time that I did of a 3:37 early this month has been beaten and reduced to a 3:34.37 by Melwin, aka DJ Atomica, on Discord. Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge, the any percent time that I did, which was a 56.51 or something, that's been now reduced to a 53.38 by Cheesy Monster. The USA Racer, the Any Races tournament mode run, that time has been reduced to a 43.44 by Solaro. I think it's called Solaro. I do apologise for butchering this name, but it's Solaro 555. He's reduced that time. In Ridge Racer 7 on the PS3, the Ridge State Grand Prix any percent time has been reduced to a 2:14.45 by Arms08 Yuki, aka Arms or Yuki, whichever way you Yuki, I don't know. Yuki, call him Yuki. Ridge Racer 2 for the PSP, the basic total time has been reduced to a 2:51.33 by Alziri 28, or Alziri as he's known. In Forza Horizon 2 for the Xbox 360, the any percent time has been reduced to a 3:47.14 by Rusty, who's done an absolutely incredible job with that run. He's proper butchered me on that one, so it's like, stop, he's already dead! With that one. Colin Mcrae Dirt 2 for the PSP. All the times have been reduced by Fail Racer, aka Fairy Fail Racer, I think he's known on here. So he reduced the any percent down to a 1:10.51 100% is reduced to a 137.20, and challenges percent is reduced to a 49.29. In Destruction Derby 2 news for the PlayStation 1, Stock Car All Races time was reduced to a 49.11 by Maria, and two which are very recent. One is Ford Racing 3, the Ford competition any percent, the time, has been reduced to sub 30 minutes, so it's been reduced to a 29.58 by Voliver 9, or Oliver, as we probably call him. And lastly, Paris-Marseille Racing 2. You remember that French meme game I did a run of not that long ago? A couple of weeks ago? The 80% time for that has been reduced to a 43.17 by Gamonimus, who has done an absolutely great job of that run. So, yeah, a couple of records been knocked off and been brought down this year in games that I've done a run of or runs of. Over the course of this year, which has been, again, great to see the times have come down for these games, either through better driving, new routes, techniques, or glitches, or whatever, or better RNG in some games. But yeah, for the most part, it's done pretty damn well. Pretty damn well. So that's pretty much seen as that, really. And that is my 2020 review. Thank you again, all of those who have supported the YouTube channel over the past year and last few years, should I say. We hit 1,000 subscribers in Christmas last year, so that was pretty damn good. But also, not only that, we're moving forward. We're climbing up to 1.5k now, which is very, very nice. And as for the Twitch side of things, thank you again to all of those that have supported me on Twitch. If you didn't know, I'm more active on Twitch than I am on YouTube, but I appreciate supporting both platforms either way. Obviously, my social links are all down in the description as per usual. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what 2021 will bring. And yeah, once again, let me just say, have a great Christmas and a great New Year, and we'll see you guys in 2021. So until then, thanks for watching, and of course, ta-ra.